last episode was 40 minutes, so I decided to make a simpler project here. This is a little dodger game. You control the shark. You gotta avoid the fish because fish eat sharks, and the score is going up the longer we survive. But once we touch a fish, then it's game over. And here are all the blocks. And I'm going to go and create the HD renovation. Create a new project. Choose a location. I'm going to call it Shark Dodge. Compatibility. Create. Switch over to 2D. Create a 2D scene. We can just call this scene. It doesn't really matter what you call it. Okay, so of course I'm going to create the background first thing, as always. Make a canvas layer. Set the layer to negative 128. Call it background. Add a texture rectangle. Full screen. Texture is a gradient texture 2D. So this time I finally decided to switch it up a little and make it a radial gradient. So go to interpolation. Wait, nope. Go to fill, and then set this to radial. Now it's a circle. Turn on the grid and drag this to the center. Okay, so for the black color, I'm going to choose this right from the project. And I'm going to get the darker blue color and put it in right here. It's a little stretched out. I'm going to see if I can just, I don't know, I'm just going to do this. Yeah, that seems to work. And then lock it in place. So, I forgot to do the project settings. Go to project settings, boot splash, set this to black, turn off show image, and window, set the mode to canvas items. Hit play and select current. So this is what I have so far. So I'm going to add in the shark. So create a new folder called textures. I'm just going to export the shark image and then drag it into Godot. So just drag it out from the file and then it will create a sprite 2D. So select the shark down here and go to the import settings, turn on generate bitmaps, set the scale to 3. Now it's nice and smooth. Or know how to make it better, you go to texture, set the filter to linear bitmap. Okay, so I'm just going to name it shark. First, I want to make this a kinematic body because it will just be easier to control it. Well, actually, it's called a character body now. So create a character body 2D. Drag in the shark sprite into that. Just call it texture. And for the character body 2D, we call this shark. Okay, now go to project settings. Get the width. Okay, so select the shark. Set the position to the width divided by 2. And I'm also going to do that for the height. So set the Y position to the height divided by 2. And click on the texture and set the transform to 0 so it's in the center. Now hold Alt and Shift and just resize it to a good size. The shark is pretty small, so I'm going to make it small. Hit play. There's the little shark there. Maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, so now time to add the collision to it. So click on the texture, go to Sprite 2D, and create collision polygon 2D sibling. So there's the outline. Maybe I'll shrink it like a little bit. Okay, that's good. And then create the polygon. So now the shark has collision with everything. Okay, so it's time to add some behavior to the shark. So create a new folder called scripts. and click on the shark and attach the script to it. Go to the scripts folder, and we can just call it shark.gd. So it gives us all of this for default, but I'm going to just delete all of it. So I want to make the shark point towards the mouse. So in Scratch, we're just saying forever point towards mouse pointer. And in Godot, it's not much different. You just say process, and you just say look at get global mouse position, and make sure to put an underscore before delta because I'm not using it. So hit play, and look how simple that was. So now the shark is looking towards the mouse. Okay, and in Scratch we also have a move 5 steps, which will move it forward in the direction that it's facing. Now sadly that isn't really simple in Godot, but you can still do it. So create a constant speed, set it to like, I don't know, 5. Okay, so I'm just going to say velocity equals velocity equals vector2 0 -1 dot rotated rotation times 5. And then now that we have the velocity, we can just move it by saying move and collide. So hit play. Whoops. For some reason, move and collide, you have to put velocity in here. You don't have to do it with move and slide, but for move and collide, you have to. So hit play. So doesn't seem to be working the way it's supposed to. It's actually moving like above the shark, kind of. I don't know. But we can just change the vector here to choose what? So maybe vector 1, 0. Let's see if that works. And yes, that works. So now the shark is moving towards the mouse. Okay, now let's add some delta time. So set this to like 50. And now in the move and collide, we can say, first remove the underscore. And now here just say velocity times delta. Let's see if that's good. Okay, that's really slow. Set it like 500. Oh, never mind. I didn't even use the speed. Okay, change that number 5 to speed. That's what I meant to do. Sorry. And yeah, I can actually just do 5 times 60. Yeah, that gives me 300. So that's the number. And yeah, now there we go. So it has delta time with it. Okay. So I want to make the text that says click to start. So go in here. I'm going to create another canvas layer. Call it GUI. Add in a label. Make it full screen. And you're just going to say click to start. And set the align to center. And if I resize it from the bottom, it will move it up a little. Okay, lock it. So in Scratch, we have this fancy little font here, which I also want to have. So I'm going to search up what this font is. So here on the wiki page, it tells you the font is called Griffy. So I'm just going to click Get Font. Which one? I want to download the one on the bottom. So here it is. It's called Handily. And now that I have that, extract the zip file. And here's the font file. So just drag it into Godot. Here it is. So click back onto the label, go to Theme Overrides, Fonts, and then drag in the font. Okay, now I can make the font size bigger. And yeah, so here's the text that says click to start. I'm just going to call this text, and I'm going to attach the script to it. I still don't know what to call it. I'm just going to call it text. Okay. Add an input. So go to project settings, go to the input map, add a new action called click, and the action is going to be left mouse button. So I can say function input if event.is action pressed, click, then do what? So in Scratch, once you click it, broadcast start, and I'm actually going to make it a global boolean instead of broadcasting. Okay, create a new script called global. Okay, now add it to auto load. Just select the global and then click add. Now we're going to say variable game started, set it to false. So in the text, we can, after you click, you just say global.started equals true. And I want it to only click once. So I'm just going to create a variable called clicked, set it to false. And then after we click, we can set click to true. And now just wrap this in an if statement. If clicked equals false. So now you can only click once, hit play, and well, you can't really see any difference yet. So after I click, I'm going to set visible to false. And in the shark, I'm going to say if global.gamestarted equals true. So hit play, it's going to wait till you click, and then it's going to start. Now I'm going to add the fish. Okay, so just export every image of the fish and drag it into the textures folder. So let me drag in this fish. So I'm going to go ahead and fix all the imports. So select fish A, go to import, generate bitmaps, and scale 3. I'm just going to do that for all of them. So I'm going to do it to fish B, and now fish C, and then fish D. Okay, so all those are fixed now. And then go to texture and set the filter to linear bitmap. So the fish is pretty big. I'm going to make it smaller. So yeah, that's a good size. I'm going to call it fish. Okay, I guess I could make the fish also a character body. So create a character body. Call this fish and call this texture. Okay, so drag the texture into the fish and then click the texture and then set the position to 0. It set it to 0 automatically somehow. So for this one, I'm actually going to have different texture for each fish. So I don't think I can have perfect collision with this. I mean, I could create a collision for each fish, but I think it's better to just generalize it. So I'm just going to create a shape 2D and just make it like a capsule. Rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, so that's like the general size of the fish. Again, you could have perfect collisions by creating a polygon for each texture, but I'm not going to do that. Anyways, we can see how this collision looks on every fish. Yep. Okay, I think it's fine. Maybe I'll just make it bigger. Okay, so there's the fish, and since we're going to making clones, I'm going to instantiate it. So right click, save branch as a scene. We just call it fish. So click on here to open the fish scene. Click back and then delete that because we don't need it. So click on fish, set the position back to 0. So now go back to the original scene, create a node 2D, call it generate fish. So attach a script to it. You can just, generate fish. In Scratch, we're making it create a clone every 0.5 seconds. So I'm going to be creating a timer, put it inside of generate fish. I'm just going to make it lowercase and set the wait time to 0.5. Okay, so create a function for when the timer is done. So on timer done. Okay, and when it's ready, first connect the function. So say timer dot timeout dot connect to on timer done, and then you can just say timer dot start. So once the timer is done, we want to spawn a fish. So drag in the fish scene, holding control, it will make a constant. So you can say a variable new fish equals fish dot instantiate. You can say add child new fish. Hit play, and then a fish will appear in the corner. So to make the fish spawn on the edge of the screen, basically, here's how it's done. So there's a 1.5 chance for it to spawn on the top or bottom, and there's a 1.5 chance for it to spawn on the left or right. In Godot, it's pretty simple to translate this, because before random stuff like this used to be complicated, but now it's a lot more simple. I can just say if randi range 1 to 2 equals 1, then I don't know yet, else I don't know. Okay, so on the top half of this, it's going to have a 50% chance to spawn on the top and a 50% chance to spawn on the bottom. So I'm going to just copy this and put it back into here. Okay, fix this up a little. Okay, and then I'm going to also do it for the bottom. Okay, so this is, I don't know if there's a better way to do this. I really don't know if this is the best way, so sorry. So on the top one, just say new fish dot position dot y, or actually no, you can just say new fish dot position equals vector to 0. Wait, no. 0 goes at the end, and for the x position, it's going to be the width. So get the width of the screen, and I can just say random float in range from 0 to the width of the screen, 0.0. Okay, copy that and paste it here. So this one's going to be on the bottom of the screen, so the position is going to be the height of the screen. So just paste that number here. Now it's coming together. So now I'm going to do the left and right side of the screen. So have the x position at 0 and have the y position random float in range from 0 to the height of the screen. Whoops. Okay. Otherwise, it will just go to the width of the screen. Okay, so I just realized I was completely incomprehensible there, but just copy whatever I put and it should work. So hit play, and Yes, the fish are now spawning on the edges of the screen. Okay, that was a bit complicated, but don't worry, because it's going to get easier now. So, click on the fish instance and attach a script to it. Yeah, just call it fish. Okay, get rid of everything. Okay, so on ready, we want it to point towards the shark, because that's what it does here, just point towards the shark. Okay, so first we need to get the position of the shark. So I might just make it a global variable. So variable shark position, so vector2. And in the shark script, we can just say global dot shark position equals position. This should be physics process. Okay, let me try that again. Physics process. Alright, so go to the generate fish script. So it took me forever to figure this out, but you have to make the fish point towards the shark after their position has been set. So I have to go to the generate fish script to do this. So I can just say new fish dot look at global dot shark position, hit play, and now all the fish will be pointing towards the shark whenever they spawn. Okay, so go back to the fish script. Okay, create a physics process. Okay, function physics process. Okay, I'm sorry about this episode because this one I didn't create a project before, so I'm just going in blind. Anyways, create the speed again, set it to 300, and I can just copy and paste the move steps block script, whatever, I don't know. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, hit play, and yep, there go all the fish towards the shark, and wow, they are really trying to get that shark. Okay, I can barely even get out because they're all getting me. Okay, so I actually don't want the fish to even collide, so add in an area 2D to this. Just call it fish collision, and then drag in the collision shape to the area 2D. So it's going to give a little warning here, but it doesn't matter because I don't care. So now the fish should just go right through the shark. Yep. And nice. So in Scratch, I have it so that once it touches the edge, then it will destroy the fish after that. So first it will move forward for a while, and then it will start detecting the edge. Okay, so first I want to create the edge. So insert a static body 2D, call it edge. Okay, create a collision shape 2D. Create 4 of them, one for each side. Okay, so I'm going to call this one left, right, top, and bottom. So left, set the shape to world boundary and set the normal to x1, y0. For right, set the shape to world boundary again. Set the normal to x -1, y0. And now get the width of the screen and set the x position to that. Now for top, create another world boundary. Set the normal to, yeah, just keep it like that. And for bottom, create a world boundary. Set the normal to y1. Now get the height of the screen and set the y position to that. Okay, I seem to have made a mistake. The bottom should have a normal of -1, and the top should have a normal of 1. Okay, so now the edges of the screen have collision. As you can see, the shark is actually colliding with them. So I want to turn off collision for the shark as well. So added an area 2D. Just call it shark collision, and then dragging the collision polygon into that. So now the shark doesn't like get stuck on the side of the screen. Okay, so in the fish, I'm going to create a variable called, what should I call it? Just call it time and set it to 0. So in the physics process, we change the time by 1 every time. So now I'm going to create a function for once it detects collision. So I'm going to create a function on body entered, body, just say object, and I'm just going to make it pass for now. And I'm going to connect it in the ready function and say fish collision dot body entered connect on body entered. Okay, now I'm just going to print body. So hit play, and it's going to keep printing edge over and over because the fish are detecting the edge. Okay, so I'm going to set this to static body 2D. Okay, so I can just say if body.name equals edge, then queue free. So when I hit play, the fish get destroyed right away. So that's what this time variable is for. So I'm going to say if time is greater than like 60 or 30, I don't know. Let's just see. Okay, so the fish go, and then once they reach the edge, then they get deleted. I don't know. It might be possible for yeah, you see, I think it's possible for the fish to escape the screen. So for that, I'm just going to say if time is greater than like a big number, like 500, then queue free. So that's just in case the fish escape the screen, and they'll still get deleted after some time. Okay. Because in Scratch that bug can't happen because they'll just get stuck on the edge, but in Godot they can just go right past. So now I need it to detect the shark. So the edges of the screen are like the body entered function, but the shark is using an area 2D, so that would be an on area entered. So you can create a function on area entered area 2D. Get pass, and you can say that on area entered, connect it to on area entered. Okay, and you can say if area.name equals shark collision, then it's going to have a game over. Okay, so I'm just going to make it print for now, make it print game over. Now, once it touches a shark, it prints game over. So I'm going to go to global and create a signal game over and go out to the text script. I'm going to make a function for on game over. So this is basically like a broadcast message. In Scratch you can broadcast it and then receive it. That's what I'm doing here. So on game over, just say visible equals true and set the text to game over with an exclamation mark actually. So in Scratch it says click to start up there, and then game over is in the center of the screen. So I'm just going to fix that real quick. Unlock it, set the size to full screen actually. Just get the position of it. So where is it? Go to transform. Where is it? Layout, transform. So the position is 0, 0 right now. So I'm going to drag it up a little. Okay, that's where the position is at -95. Now I can lock it again. And on game over, I can just say position equals vector2, 0, 0. Whoops, I forgot to make it emit the signal. So go back to fish, and you just say global dot emit signal, game over. And I also have to connect it here. So function ready, just say global dot game over, connect to on game over. Okay, so once I touch the fish, then the word game over appears. Let me just make sure I got the layering right. So click the text, go to ordering, set the Z index to like 10, and then go to the shark texture and set the Z index to like 2. So now once the game ends, I want everything to stop. So in Scratch, I did that by setting a variable to 1, which would stop all the fish. So I'm going to do that in Godot. I already have a variable called game started, so I can just say global dot game started equals false. And in the generate fish script, on timer done, it's only going to do that if global dot game started equals true. Okay. So once a fish gets me, then the shark will stop moving and it will stop making new fish. Now I also want it to freeze all of the fish on the screen. So let's say if global dot game started equals true. Okay, so hit the fish and then game over, just like it does in Scratch. Now I need to make the fish change appearances. So in Scratch, I have a bunch of costumes for them. So since I'm not using perfect collision for this, what I can do is change the type to animated sprite 2D, create a new sprite frames, and then for each frame, you can just select all the fish here and then drag it in. So now all I have to do is change the frame, and then it will switch the fish. Okay, so in the fish script, I can just say texture.frame equals random int in range 0 to 3. Hit play, and now we'll start seeing a diversity of fish popping up. Yep, a bunch of different fish here. So we're almost done. I just want to create the score now in the top left. So in the GUI, just create a label and make it full screen. We're just going to call this score. And I can just say score 0. So in the previous episodes, I copied exactly what this variable looked like. I didn't save it, and I really don't feel like building all of that again, so I'm just going to make it text. So if you want to know how to make this look exactly like a variable in Scratch, I think it's episode 2 that I did it. So in part 2, I actually created a GUI that looked exactly like the variable in Scratch. Here, I'm just going to keep it like that. Set the ordering to like 10. Okay. Now attach a script to it. I just call it score. So in the score, I'm going to attach a timer to it. And I'm going to call it timer, just lowercase. Set the wait time to 1. Okay, so create another on timer done function. We've already been through this. Say timer.timeout, connect to on timer done. and then say timer.start. So I'm not going to make a global variable for the score this time. I'm just going to keep it here. So set the score to 0. And then on timer done, just say score plus equals 1. And then you can say text equals score plus score converted to string. So hit play and the score counter should go up every second. I only want it to do that if the game is started. So say if global dot game started equals true. Now just one more thing to add, which is the audio. All I have is just one little chomp sound. So export that chomp, just drag it into the project. I'm not even going to make a folder for it. So in the score, just add a stream player, call it chomp, then drag in the sound. That's pretty loud. Maybe like -30, -25. And I'm gonna make an on game over function. Just say chomp.play. And now connect the on game over function. So global.gameover, connect on game over. And now we're done. So I'm going to play this in exclusive full screen. So go to project settings and set the mode to exclusive full screen. So hit play. So it says click to start. So I'm just going to click. And here we go. Avoid all the deadly fish. So we're finally free from the scratch variable, the default variable watcher. So now we can have our own little text there. We don't need that bulky orange variable anymore. It's very beautiful. So much you can do in Godot. Amazing, right? Anyways, we just hit one of the fish. Game over, and I got a score of 30. And no one else can beat that score because I'm the best at this game. Well, anyways, thanks for watching this, and hopefully you learned something.